When you think of deadly animals, your mind probably jumps to snakes, big cats, or apex predators with fangs and claws. But there's one adorable woodland creature that has a secret weapon so dangerous, it's taken down wolves, injured humans, and sent countless dogs to emergency vet visits. That's right, porcupine quills aren't just painful, they're biologically engineered to maim and kill. Let's unpack the incredible science, horrifying stories, and life-saving knowledge behind why porcupine quills are way deadlier than you think. So, what makes a porcupine quill so lethal? At first glance, a porcupine quill looks like a simple sharp spike. But when you zoom in literally and biologically, you find a deadly design masterpiece. Each quill is covered in microscopic barbs, similar to fishhooks, that embed into flesh and resist removal. Unlike a clean needle puncture, these barbs expand when exposed to body heat and muscle movement, making them extremely difficult and painful to remove. Once inside, they begin to migrate deeper. Yes, they can burrow up to 1 millimeter per hour inside the victim's body. This isn't just inconvenient, it can be lethal. Studies have shown that the North American porcupine carries around 30,000 quills on its body. These aren't just randomly placed, they're concentrated in high-risk zones like the tail, which the porcupine uses as a whip against predators. The quills also contain fatty acid coatings, possibly with antimicrobial properties. This helps the porcupine avoid infections from self-injury, but unfortunately, it doesn't protect the animal that gets stabbed. This entire defense system is a case of biological brilliance and terrifying efficiency. Who's getting hurt and why it matters more than ever? While a quill might seem like a minor issue, wildlife researchers and veterinarians are increasingly documenting fatal outcomes across the animal kingdom, and even in humans. In Alaska, wildlife biologists recently documented a tragic case of a gray wolf dying from internal sepsis caused by embedded quills. The animal had clearly tried to attack a porcupine out of desperation, and the quills had pierced its intestine, leading to a slow and painful death. These cases are not isolated. Porcupine quills have been found in the stomachs, lungs, and even brains of predators such as lynxes and foxes. Birds of prey aren't safe either. A 2024 study showed that nearly 39% of porcupine predation attempts by raptors like golden eagles ended fatally for the bird. Their talons and beaks are no match for a flurry of whipping quills aimed at their face and chest. When you're flying into an animal covered in sharp projectiles, it's not hard to see how things can go horribly wrong. But domestic animals, especially dogs, are the most frequent victims. Veterinary clinics in North America report a sharp seasonal spike in quill injuries during the spring and summer months. Dogs, curious by nature, tend to stick their snouts right into porcupines, often ending up with hundreds of quills in their faces, mouths, and chests. These quills often break off under the skin, leading to hidden internal damage. There have been documented cases where quills migrated to the heart, lungs, or even spinal cord over time, resulting in emergency surgeries or death. One vet from Minnesota described a case where a single quill migrated into a dog's eyeball, requiring surgical extraction under full anesthesia. Even humans aren't completely safe. In a rare but well-documented case from India in 2024, a man had a porcupine quill lodged deep into his foot for over 2 months. It had to be surgically removed under general anesthesia. In another, more severe case, a quill had penetrated the glenoid fossa, a part of the shoulder joint, and caused extensive vascular and nerve damage. In both cases, symptoms began subtly but escalated due to the quill's migratory behavior and resistance to imaging, such as standard X-rays. Why do predators still risk attacking porcupines? If the stakes are so high, why do predators keep attacking porcupines? The answer is simple. Hunger makes animals take desperate risks. In one documented case, a starving wolf with a broken leg still attempted to attack a porcupine, only to die shortly after from internal puncture wounds. In harsh winters or low prey seasons, even experienced hunters like bobcats or coyotes gamble on porcupines despite knowing the risks. Some animals have evolved strategies to avoid injury. For instance, the fisher, a type of large weasel, is known to attack the soft, unquilled underbelly of a porcupine. But even these calculated maneuvers don't guarantee safety. Quills often get stuck in fur or paws during the struggle, and those that aren't removed properly can still migrate and cause damage later. And here's the thing: porcupines don't throw their quills, contrary to popular myth. But their muscular tails can whip with such force that quills become embedded on contact, almost like biological bullets. So no, you're not safe standing a few feet away. Anatomy of a quill: small but mighty. The design of a porcupine quill is a marvel of nature. Made of keratin, the same material as human hair and nails, a quill is light yet strong. North American porcupines carry quills that average between 2 and 4 inches long. However, species like the Indian crested porcupine have quills reaching up to 20 inches in length. Each quill contains microscopic rear-facing barbs along its shaft. These barbs do two things. First, they reduce the force needed for the quill to puncture the skin, up to 60% less than a smooth needle, and second, they anchor it inside the tissue once embedded. That means once you're hit, pulling it out is not only painful but can cause even more damage if done improperly. One recent study even compared quill barbs to modern surgical staples, suggesting that nature beat us to biomedical innovation by a few million years. What to do and what not to do if you get quilled. Whether it's your dog, a friend, or, heaven forbid, you, getting quilled requires a very specific response. First things first, never try to yank out a quill with your bare hands. The barbs will cause it to break off under the skin, turning what could be a minor injury into a major one. For animals, this means emergency vet care is essential. Vets typically use hemostats and sedation to carefully extract each quill without snapping it. If your pet is repeatedly quilled, it may develop scar tissue, abscesses, or systemic infections. Dogs with porcupine injuries should always be examined with ultrasound or X-rays. But keep in mind, quills don't always show up well on imaging. They're not dense like metal. CT scans or MRIs may be required to track migrating quills. For humans, it's much the same. A quill stuck in your foot might seem like a splinter, but it's not. If not professionally removed, it can burrow into soft tissue, bone, or even vessels. Infections from fungal spores like Penicillium or Candida, found on wild quills, can also develop. If you suspect a quill injury, don't wait. Head to urgent care and insist on imaging and surgical extraction if necessary. A practical tip for outdoor adventurers and pet owners: carry a pair of hemostats in your first aid kit. If you're in remote areas, this can buy you enough time to get professional help without making things worse. The big takeaways and why they matter. Porcupines might look like shy, lumbering forest dwellers, but they carry a biological defense system that rivals anything the animal kingdom has to offer. From fatal injuries in wolves and eagles to infections and organ punctures in dogs and even humans, their quills are far more than just a nuisance. They are, in every sense, weapons. Understanding the danger of quills can literally save a life. Whether you're hiking in the backwoods of Montana or letting your dog off leash in Maine, knowing the risk, the science, and the correct response could be the difference between a quick vet visit and a fatal mistake. A cautionary tale with a sharp edge. So, next time someone tells you porcupines are just harmless woodland critters, hit them with the facts. They're cute, yes, but they're armed, loaded, and ready to ruin your week. We've seen wolves die, dogs go blind, and people end up under the knife, all because they underestimated these spiky survivors. And remember, a single quill can be the start of a very bad day or worse. If you found this video surprising, useful, or just entertaining, do the smart thing like subscribe, share it, bookmark it, and remember it the next time you're out in nature. Knowledge like this doesn't just impress people around the campfire, it might just save someone's life.